everyone, and welcome to the new episode from Pivot in Progress, where the topic of our discussion today is something that is on many people's minds. India is a big tech-focused workforce, and we have almost 50 million people who work in tech or associated sectors today. So the large swaths of this workforce today is thinking about how they utilize AI to stand out in the job market. And not just when they're applying to a new role or they're transitioning, but also when they are trying to outperform their competitors. And so for that, we have two really incredible professionals who work in the product management and engineering space with us. They are just backstage, and we'll now bring them up to the stage and start this conversation. So good evening, Mrutyunjaya and Agam. Thanks for joining again. How are you both doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Hey,
All good, all good.
doing good.
All right. So I think this is the first time you both are doing this, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, it was always a first, and very glad to have you here. So before we dive into the topic, I think it would be good if we do a quick round of intros, just so people understand your backgrounds as well. I can go first. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Arjun, and I'm the founder at Pivot. Basically what we do at Pivot is help people achieve ambitious career goals. So if they are, let's say, thinking not just job hopping from one company to another, but they're thinking about changing their domain, their industry, their level in the organization, sometimes even their geography. Those are the kind of areas that we specialize in helping people landing their target role. So we'll talk more about what Pivot does in the course of this conversation, but I'll turn it over to Agam first. Agam, welcome again to today's episode, and if you could just share a little bit about yourself and what you do today, that would be great.
Sure. uh, Thanks, Arjun, for inviting me first. Hi everyone. My name is Agam Mahajan. I am Senior Engineering Manager at Swiggy, and I'm part of the organization for nearly 7 years, and I've been in IT space for uh, around 10 years. My most job profile is on building consumer-focused products, majorly elevating the app experience and the consumer experience. And what excites me about AI is like how it is now in the last 1 year shifting from the hype to actual impact. And I'm very much excited to discuss with you all how it is impacting the job in overall India and all world.
Great. I think we can have Mrityunjay go ahead. Mrityunjay, if you could just share a bit about.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. I'm Rithunjay, and I've been working for the last 4 years, primarily in the product management segment. I have stayed in the B2B SaaS industry entirely. I've worked in a company called Sprinkler. Then I was a product manager at Humanatic AI, and just recently, like a couple of days back, I joined this company called Unify Apps. All three companies are in B2B SaaS, and like since like last 1.5 years, I like actively working on AI products. And off job, I'm primarily a tinkerer, so I like to build like projects. I like to build applications myself using AI on AI, sometimes around AI. But yeah, that's been me, and that's been my work for the last 4 years.
Perfect. All right, let's dive in. So I think the stage that I want to set here is this. Until 2022 year end, ChatGPT was not known by most professionals. Starting around 2023, people started to use ChatGPT mostly for personal use, and I think sometime around mid 23, late 23 is when GPT started focusing on B2B solutions, and a lot of people started incorporating it in their day job. 2024 is when we started to actually realize what use cases GPT and other such AI tools have. And today in 2025, we have probably seen more than 200 plus use cases for AI tools, which are actually being used practically on the ground by professionals across different fields. Right. So the journey from 23 to 25 has been extremely rapid, and we are seeing a lot of new experiments happening, some of which are working well, some of which are also not working well, which is usually the case when you do new innovation. So my first topic of discussion with regard to the broader AI topic is, given this space, what do you folks see as the most important trends in the use of AI within work, especially when we talk about product development? What are the most important trends that you're seeing in this space? Because things are evolving so rapidly that what used to be true just 3 months ago is not necessarily true today. There might be some new developments. So, Agam,
Sure.
we'll start with you. Based on your experience specifically in engineering, I imagine, which you have focused on, we know about tools like Cursor. We know about tools that can also go from 0 to 1 in terms of MVP development very quickly. So what are the key trends with regard to these tools or other engineering use
Got it.
cases of AI?
So as you were mentioning, right, like 2024 is started with these AI tools incorporating in the corporate world, right? And we also like were trying out different tools. So it started with try out different tools and understand like how accurate those tools are, right? For example, maybe one tool, if you mentioned Cursor, right, may work for some use case and some use case it won't give the accurate results, right? So earlier the trends were like you were doing a breadth of the AI tools, you're trying to do a lot of stuff. But from in my experience, I see is like you have to find your accurate framework and what will work best for your use case, right? And then you kind of fine tune that. For example, let's say if I talk about writing code via Cursor, right? So if you have a like MVP as you mentioned, right, that will be quickly built, right? But to actually integrate in your whole application, for example, like a Swiggy or any other big companies, it won't give that much accurate results. You have to constantly train and how you better give the prompts as well to the AI and how you kind of create rules and all these things to kind of get accurate results. I think that is the goal you should be targeting, like how accurate and how actual benefit you will get in your work. Hmm.
Yeah. Understood. So just one follow-up question before we go to Mrityunjay on that. I mean, I understand. So basically, things have gone from just experimenting with a wide variety of tools to experimenting with, fewer tools, which you
And
believe have the biggest
going deeper
benefit for
into that to
your
get your like accuracy. Yes.
going deeper. Right. So that journey, how does that get decided? Because there's so many tools that keep coming up every day, right? We are in the
Yeah.
early days of AI still, even though things are progressing rapidly. But it's kind of like, how internet companies came in 90s and early 2000s. There was like a new e-commerce platform that was launched every other day, for example. Now, obviously, over a period of time, things become clearer that, okay, this is the go-to tool for this is the go-to tool for that. And maybe to some extent, there is that happening in engineering today as well. But how do engineers today experiment with a broad set of tools to arrive on that decision that, okay, I should
That
be
is, I think,
using
a good
this?
question. So I'll say ki, like first is you narrow it down to let's say two, three tools which fits your use case, and then you can easily get from either with your communities or your colleagues and all these people. You will see these tools are easily available. You will shortlist them, and then you start experimenting with your use case. Like which of them is giving a more accurate result? What is the outcome coming? Are you able to train them well enough for your use case to get solved or not? And sometimes the AIs also hallucinate as well. So you keep on experimenting till you find the one which suits best for you. That is, this works for us.
Got it. So more like organic trial and error
As of
sort
now,
of an
because
approach
they
to.
see in lot of companies are trying a lot of different things, right? Few are making their own LLM, few are like creating a wrapper over the existing ones, right? So it's like it's an experiment phase only. That's why I'm saying like, still lot of things are there in the market, and you have to find what will work for you.
Got it. All right. So, Mrityunjay, I think similar question for you, obviously, in terms of the key trends you're seeing more from a product development standpoint. Since you're a product manager, I think we are seeing a huge demand for
Yeah,
AI tools
yeah,
from product
yeah,
managers today. And I mean, apart from you utilizing AI to do their typical responsibilities like PRDs and MVP, prototype creation, all of those things, we are also seeing them getting into what we things are being
yeah,
known as vibe coding, right? It's being called as vibe coding. Now, in the Silicon Valley, at least, what we are seeing is almost every product manager today is doing some vibe coding on the side. It may be part of the job, it may be not part of the job,
Yeah,
but they're doing it because it's kind of like, if you see one other product manager on your team do it, you start to either feel insecure or you start to feel, okay, there might be an additional advantage, so I
right.
should also do it. So that has definitely been happening in US. What are the major trends you're seeing in AI for product, and how are product managers now making these new type of decisions with regard to AI?
Yeah, so like in one line, I would say that it's blurring the lines to the extent where a product manager can actually like deliver or even like contribute. So like fundamentally also the role was always to be a liaison between three to four like counterpart teams, be it engineering, be it design, be it analytics, be it support, be it customer. Now, what AI and AI tools have done is that they have also given that added like arrow in the quiver to go ahead and do that job for yourself as well and for the team too. And that is primarily the reason why I see more and more product managers, like more people in this domain, like trying to do more and more vibe coding. That is the primary reason. They want to like deliver more, they want to expand their role, they want to contribute more, they want to bring things more into their control, which is fantastic. And one more aspect is that the basic job of a product manager is to outline the requirements that is to be there for building a software end to end. What vibe coding has essentially done
Yeah.
is that it has given the power to bring, like, let's say, my own ideas in front of myself very fast. So from a document to a visual representation of what I am thinking, that can be very different if I explain it to somebody else. But when I'm able to jot it down myself, design it myself, build it myself, walk through the user flows myself and see it in action, then I'm even able to like improve it much better than what I would have done if
Yeah.
I would have just directly passed the document over to my developer account. So that is primarily the reason
Hmm.
why product managers are expanding more into counterpart roles and trying to do their job. But it's not like very like right to say that we will go ahead and start doing the job. It's just that we will be faster in giving them the requirements or faster in giving them the context that they need with like less amount of effort. So what it has in turn helped product managers do is instead of handling one project, now I can manage five. So that is where the 5x or 10x engineer comes from. That is where the 5x or 10x product manager comes from. It's not about doing somebody else's job. It's about doing 10 times of what you're currently doing. So yeah,
Interesting. So, again, a quick
yeah,
follow up for you, Mrityunjay, on that. You said it's not necessarily about doing the
yeah,
work that others do. It's more like doing your work faster
yeah,
and better, I guess. But I mean, haven't all these tech CEOs who are building the AI companies like Sam Altman and all these folks, they're talking about how in the very near future there will be one-person billion
absolutely.
dollar companies. They
Yeah,
frequently talk about that,
yeah,
right? And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they are saying that AI will be the fuel behind this one person, billion dollar company. So if you're saying that one person would not be able to, or product managers, for example, will not be able to do what engineers do using AI, and other functions that they can do using AI. For example, you can
yeah,
generate content also very easily if you wanted to
absolutely.
become a marketer, right? If you're saying that that's not something that will happen, how, what are these tech CEOs then
Uh,
talking about? How can one person companies exist in the
no,
first
so
place?
the thing that I said is that product managers using these AI apps are not trying to do somebody else's job. That does not translate into that they can't do somebody else's job or they won't do in the future. Anytime you take a
Mhm.
company from the top, a CEO is like more or less able to do everything on their own. You start hiring more people because you have bandwidth issue, let's say. Maybe you have expertise issue at some points, and that is how you divide your own work into separate departments. Let's say you are a tech CEO, you can
Right.
code your entire functional website first, but then you understood that you need somebody to write content for you. That's why you hired a marketing guy. Then you wanted somebody to write down the requirements for you, but you can do it yourself. You're just not willing to do it yourself, so you're expanding your team into something else. Now, parallel tools that are coming up as agents, they might definitely, like, they will definitely help somebody build a one person tool. And it's not that AI made it happen. There are a lot of solopreneurs existing like 10 years before this as well. So it's what AI,
But not one
not
person,
billion
billion
dollar
dollar
companies,
company. I
obviously,
mean,
not
we
billion dollar companies, and
right.
uh, obviously that I still believe that's a far shot, because a $1 billion company is not about just a product. It's a lot more about the GTM around it, and I'm still trying to
Right.
find that one tool that can actually accelerate the GTM of a company to $1 billion. So if that exists someday, probably HubSpot or Salesforce do that someday, maybe. But that is where I still believe there is
Hmm.
a roadblock. Else, like every company out there must have been doing some 10 million in ARR in weeks or so. Like,
I
so
think it will
that's what I
depend
believe.
upon the use case as well, right? As Mrityunjay is saying, right? It's not like one solution fits for all, right? If you are a like small scale startup, right, where you have this, when Mithun was saying the blurring the lines between product design and engineering, where it will make sense. Like I'm a product manager or I'm a person, I'm writing the document for the requirement doc, creating, coming up with the features, and also with the AI help, I am able to design as well and do the prototyping. If it is early stage one, even though I will not have full expertise, but with vibe coding, I can even do some iterations and roll out my product, right? Kind of see the viability and all this thing and do a POC on this. So I feel like with that, I think it will still, it's really in early stage, but it is going into that direction where, let's say, where you have a smaller teams and you have the bandwidth constraints on your from that, and
Hmm.
there you can kind of have this product managers doing the job of others as well, or one person doing multiple jobs, if we say, right? For example, if I am an engineer, I am also able
Yeah.
to now create designs as well, right? Uh, or even I have to go with some requirements I have to gather and doc I have to create, I can do it, and I can pitch in with my CEO and say, yeah, these are requirements I want to do it, these are the GTM strategy for that, and able to complete that. But it'll not fit for all use cases. If you are something into operations and you have some other use cases, you can't have one person doing all the jobs. So that I also is my view on this.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely going to be an interesting scenario to
Mm.
see how things unfold in this area, because um, you know things have evolved so rapidly, and many promises that were made have been kept. Many promises that were made by tech CEOs have not been kept, right? So we are still figuring out what will work in the near future. But one of the things that I do want to mention here with regard to whether or not we have one person billion-dollar company is that both of you are saying one thing for sure. It's that the same individual who was performing at X 2 or 3 years ago can perform at 5x to 10x at this stage in 2025
Yeah,
already, right? Which means in the near future, it could become 50x or 100x once the agents have matured, and people know exactly how to use them, how to deploy them. So I think that is a clear point. Now, given that this is where our tech world is heading, what I want to talk about next are the kind of skills that are needed to be successful in this kind of a world, right? Now, to be very honest, there are multiple resources out there, podcast shows and books and articles written on the type of skills, right? And one of the common themes that people keep talking about is the skills which are not repeatable, the things which are not teachable, those are the ones that will become more and more impactful in the near future. So, a lot of the human centric skills, for example, relationship driven skills, those kind of things. So, the reason I'm sharing this is because I don't want to talk about the same things that has been talked about hundreds of times by other people. Now, my first question to you both is, and maybe you'll start with Mrityunjay on this one first. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that for even techies like product managers, engineers, developers, the first thing they should also focus on are these relationship driven, human driven skills? Or do you think there are other skills that they should keep in mind when they are thinking about utilizing AI in 2025 and beyond?
Well, I actually have never given too much thought about the relationship aspect, because for techies or like even product managers like us, like especially for product managers, it's a must from day one because of the nature of work we have. So even if I like coin it as a necessary skill, it's always have been a necessary skill for us. But what I have been like talking about or preaching or have been personally believing is that one of the most important skill right now is use case identification for any person out there, no matter which department you are in. Use case identification is perhaps the best skill to have, and in order to have use case identification as a skill, you need to be expert in a particular domain. It can be a hard skill, it can be a vertical skill, it can be something. So the way I think of it is that for a brief period of time, for let's say for the last 10, 15 years, when the development era was there, the skill of coding or the skill of building a software, the hard skill part of that took over everything else. A person who does not even understand engineering, if he's absolutely great at writing code, you can still make it to the top 1% out there. But right now, we are again going back to that PhD era. We are again going back to falling back to people who are like well read, who are absolutely expert in the domain that you're functioning in. And it can be anything. It can be as simple as fishing, also. It can be as simple as like construction. It can be anything of that sort. Because now AI is going to enter each and every vertical out there, so the people having the crux knowledge of that department will be sought after by tech companies as well. Tech, non-tech, whoever is having AI in that stream, they'll have it. Now coming back to relationship, that is what I said in that $1 billion discussion, that GTM is the second key to unlocking everything that your company needs at the moment. And the base of GTM is relationships. So definitely the human interaction part, I have always believed as to be a core skill starting any role. And you guys are definitely way more senior than me, and you would understand that. Like 5, 10 years into the journey, there are two primary things that a person should know. One is sales. So no matter where you are doing, whatever you're doing, sales is the number one skill. That is what Sam Altman said as well. And sales is basically relationship building, right? The better your relationship is, the better you sell any product out there. So that's my view on.
Yeah, yeah. All right, and Agam, I think similar question for you, right? Like in terms of the core skills you believe are going to define the next, let's say, 3 to 5 years, because we can't really predict a very long-term future right now. Things are changing so fast, but at least for the next, let's say, 3 years or so, as an engineer, what are you most focused on, and what are you telling other people who you want to see succeed in their careers they should focus on from a
Got it.
skills perspective?
So it's more or less like on a similar lines. The answer, which was earlier also, is like you have to keep on experimenting, right? As you were mentioning, there are a lot of videos, courses, and everything is online, right? You can go through a bunch of them, but if you're not doing the hands-on project by yourself using the AI, you will not get the learning from it, right? The learning. Otherwise, you're just learning. Yeah, these are the steps I can do, and maybe some do the courses, but if you do your hands-on on the projects, do the experimentation, learn from is, is this video one?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, but your video is
Can you guys hear me by any chance?
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. I think there might be some tech issues. You can keep continuing, Agam. I can see you, but I can't hear you both. So allow me a minute, but you can continue with your answer in the meantime.
Sure. Yeah. So as I was mentioning, like you have to do experimentation on some projects which you want to do. For example, let's say if somebody is like newly into the IT world, right? And you can do clones and all, but when you do the hands-on with the AI tool, there only you will get the best learning. And it should not be just like a dumb kind of uh, you giving the prompts and just pasting the code or just building that. You have to see the thought process behind it. Like, let's say I have given a use case to the AI, like do this for me, create this UI, or do this API network calling from me. for me, right? And the AI is created that you should know about like how it is doing that, the steps, and the like these tools will beautifully do the explanation as well for you to understand. So you also learn from it. It should not be like you become dependent on the AI. AI is the tool which you should take advantage of becoming the 10x engineer or the product manager, right? So yeah, that is my answer, Rajat, on this. Okay, and okay. Also, I think, Mrityunjay, you can chime in, but I feel participating now, there a lot of AI hackathons are also like coming, and
Yeah,
I feel those are very like helpful for a lot of individuals. Recently, we had a use case like the Apple came with their own AI models which developers can use and create use cases in their applications.
right.
And here in Bangalore and in other cities also, like
Yeah,
people are creating hackathons where you can try out on these AI models and then create the use cases. So I think that has been very helpful for the individuals to actually
absolutely.
yeah.
No, I believe people should take it like their kids. Like you participate in dance competitions and song competitions back in school, middle school. So any hackathon that you get, like there are hackathons across the board today, like
Yeah.
from Lovable to Cursor to Indian companies to companies who are not even operating in AI. They are also having hackathons in AI. So I believe participate everywhere. Whatever they ask, Google it first. Even if you don't know, step in it, probably just use AI to know the subsequent steps in it, but participate, and that's the way I learned it too. Like um, the thing has been for 2 years only. If you see it, the thing has been for 2 years, so it's not like we were born with it or somebody is an expert with it, except the people who obviously built it. And the rest of the industry is operating on what they have seen for the past 2 years. So it's still early and still a lot of chances to be good at it.
No, no. I also feel like the mid-level engineers and product people, right? They have a way of doing works, right? Way of working is
Yeah,
there, and some like I've seen a lot like they see like 1 year so definitely back it was, and now also I see in a lot of places they see a hindrance into adopting the AI as well,
right.
right? Because they're used to in certain way. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'll if I talk about products, I have to create a PRD, do the users friendly, and then give it to my developer. Similarly, for
Yeah,
developers, I have to just the dump from product manager, get the design and just start implementing, doing the designs. Even lot of I've seen companies also not encouraging usage of AI tools. That
yeah,
was also very astonishing for me, where I was talking to in a lot of forums, and they're saying this. Let's say this tool is blocked by the company.
yeah,
I was saying why it is happening because in this world you need it to like to be forced by yes you have to you should be learning it, otherwise you will fall behind. You are not able to get this, and then companies not adopting is also kind of a red flag I see. Do you see similar things in products as well? Products
no,
manager.
absolutely, I do. And like this is perhaps the first time that I've actively started telling people that it's not a harm to buy subscriptions of AI tools. This is perhaps the only time I would actually tell them to buy a subscription of a SaaS tool, because you have a ton of tools out there that can actually reduce your job by 50% of your work. They can save you time. It does not harm you to pay some money to start using them, because it's helping you two ways. One, you have twice the time now to do work, and second, you're actually learning a tool which is a transferable skill that you can show to another company. Be it if you want to move to another company, or you want to move up in your like in your own organization as well, because that's what leadership is trying to look into the workforce right now. They want people to come out from the crowd, show what they have been doing, show if they can teach the same thing to other people.
Mhm.
And that's particularly what everybody is trying to gauge, because, as I said, none of us is an actual expert in this, but some of us have actually started using it way better than other people. And
Correct.
that's perhaps the advantage that we have now. But 8 years, 10 years down the line, definitely that gap will widen like anything. So 2 years in the line, we're still in the same race, slightly ahead. But 8, 10 years down the line, if people are not using it day in and day out in the job, it's gonna be difficult for sure for them. Hi, Manjiri.
Hello, hello. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience. I think Arjun is facing some technical glitch, but thank you so much, Mrityunjay and Agam, for continuing this conversation. Cannot thank you enough for this. So, what we can do, we are getting lots of incredible questions from the audience. We can actually take them up one by one so that we can start the conversation and keep the conversation
Sure.
rolling. So, the first question that I would like to highlight here. I don't know the full name. It's GC, but it is about how can storytelling and communication skills help product developers stand out when building all the AI-driven products. I think Mrityunjay, you will be a great person to talk about this.
I was gonna say Agam would be a great person to answer this. And
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I'll let
Then
Agam
Agam,
start and then I'll just like
Sure.
pitch in.
So,
cool, cool.
I feel as we were already discussing on the similar lines, right? That communications you do because you're not working as an individual person, right? You are working with a lot of your stakeholders, whether it's product manager, designers, and Q and any other ones, right? So, communication skills definitely are required to kind of convince the other people, like, yes, this is, or you can explain your viewpoints as well. With AI driven products, I feel like storytelling also makes sense to show them that this is the use case, this will how it will work, what will be the outcome of that, what will the gains will be coming from this use case, right? So these that both skills I think very much important now also with AI as well. Like earlier, like anyways, earlier also it was valid, and now it's still valid.
All right. I think, sorry, I've been having some tech glitches, but I hope you can both see me, hear me now. Yeah. Okay. Great. So I think we can probably get your opinion, Mrityunjay. I'm not sure if you have shared your opinion on this, given that this question is talking about product developers specifically as well. So, in addition to engineers, do you want to add anything, or have you already shared your input on this question?
No, I'll just like wrap it up in one line that loss in translation is perhaps one of the biggest problem that any organization faces. So storytelling and communication skills go like without saying. You need to share your vision exactly as it is to somebody who's building it for you. That can be a human developer or an AI developer at the moment. So that's just I'll just wrap up this topic with.
Got it. I think we can bring on the next question to the screen then. Or AI, are traditional product management skills like market research and user empathy still enough, or should AI specific technical knowledge be prioritized? I think this goes back to one of the questions that we were talking about earlier, right? Like, should it be more behavioral, human centric skills? Should it be more of the technical knowledge? I think you did share, Mrityunjay, earlier about the being able to find the right use cases, which in my view is a combination of a technical and behavioral skill. So what do you think about this?
No, exactly as you said, and I believe our entire like discussion is on answering this question. Like, is it enough, or do you need AI specific technical knowledge? But yes,
Yeah.
you definitely need AI specific technical knowledge now. Market research and user empathy will definitely get you ahead of the rest of the folks. But if you really want to like achieve a level where you are driving an entire AI product development end to end with precision that it actually sells in the market and users actually find it useful, you need to have that technical knowledge to back what you're trying to build. So yeah, the answer is yes. You need more AI specific knowledge.
So Arjun, we were discussing earlier also, right? We are not. Matlab, I also feel it's like it's AI is should it's not replacing your existing traditional knowledge or like how your process is, right? It's an add-on tool for you, which does the job 10x faster, right? So you should not be scratching the kind of, let's say, the skills which are needed earlier also. Those are like definitely needed. These are like add-on skills which you have to stand out from the crowd. Yeah, so I'll
Yeah.
want to add this point.
Yeah, so I think what we are taking away from multiple questions that have come, I want to re-emphasize this because this has been discussed and rehashed a couple of times in our conversation, and it seems like people are, this is a good question. That's why we brought it up earlier as well, because it comes up very frequently in our conversations with tech candidates as well. What skills should be prioritized? And I think what we are hearing is that there is not one or the other kind of an approach here. It's not that you have to either be mostly focused on relationships, sales, and human centric skills, or you focus on the technical. You have to, in today's age, do both. And you might have one that is more superior than the other. That can happen. Like you can be a person who is better at building MVP tools, in a fraction of time that it used to. But at the same time, you will still need some sales and stakeholder management skills to be able to sell whatever you have built, right? To be able to get the buy-in from people. Otherwise, it's just primarily going to be siloed within product building. It's not going to actually always see the light of the day. So I think that's what we are learning here. With that, I hope we have addressed this query, but please feel free to bring it up in case anybody else has a question regarding this. We'll take the next question from the audience here. So I have faced that AI tools like Cursor are better in building new features, but it comes to inserting some logic in the existing code base. When it comes to inserting some logic in existing code base, it starts to hallucinate. How do you become better in this? I think that's a good point. And Agam, you had raised this earlier
Yeah.
as well, right? Like it cannot just like all these tools cannot just completely outright replace what you are building today, or the kind of skills that you are applying as an engineer today. And this hits to the heart of that. Do you want to add on to what you had previously shared?
So, like on the similar lines, I'll just say is that you have to go to in the depth of that tool, right? How do you make, let's say, if I talk about Swiggy, right? So we have like a huge code base with multiple business lines integrated and a lot of files and lines, right? So if I say to the cursor, yeah, just add, do this job for me, or let's say complex queries when I start building, right? It will not be able to understand with that much perfection. There you becomes the training, the prompting, and the rules which you define for that tool. Those will come into the picture. How you refine it more and more, there only you will be making your cursor output better, or any AI tool output better, and that will reduce your hallucinations.
Got it. Do you think there are going to be more accurate versions that will be released fairly frequently, so that the requirement to give better, deeper prompts will reduce in the future? Or do you think prompting will remain a fairly complex skill set, and people will need to learn it even in, like, let's say 1 year from today or 2 years from today, it will have these hallucination? I mean, I'm asking you to sort of predict the accuracy and the quality of these output that we get from LLMs today.
Okay, so I'll answer the one by one. The one is ki, like the versioning will be the faster versioning will happen or not for the LM. Definitely yes. We are seeing it now only. Like there's a lot of iterations happen, and every version is like much better from the previous one. Recently, GPT also has launched their new version, is seeing a lot of improvements there. Uh, and your second question, you were saying the prompt becomes more complex. I'll disagree with that. I'll say you learn with time to how to give better prompts, right? It's a
No, my
two-way.
question, sorry, Agam, my question was slightly different. See, today what's happening is, if you don't, I mean, as per my understanding, you're saying that if we don't give detailed prompts and
Correct.
really guide the LLM as to what we are looking for, it can hallucinate. It can give you inaccurate feedback and output. I'm asking, do you think that will continue, or do you think the
Mm.
need for such complex, detailed prompts will become less important? Because the reason I'm asking this is, 1 year ago, people were talking about prompt engineering as a major career option.
Ah.
Okay, 1 year ago, if you recall.
Hmm.
Now, yes, we still understand the importance of prompts, but it's not like something which is extremely like rocket science kind of a thing. Yes, people can be good at it, bad at it, that we get, but it's not like somebody is not able to do it at all. So, in the future, like 1 or 2 years from today, do you think the LLM's accuracy will improve enough that the prompting as a skill will not be a big differentiator? That is the question.
I'll say definitely yes. So will be. the versions will upskill themselves, that you don't have to kind of create those complex queries. It will become better with time as well, I feel. We have
So
seen
this
right away also, okay, like whatever how we were inputting the prompts like 1 year back, and now we are giving, let's say we are giving the lesser complex prompts also, still getting the same outcome. So I think down the line it will become more accurate.
Got it. Mrityunjay, do you want to add anything on this front? I know this is more engineering focused, but because you said you're a tinkerer, you know utilize AI for a lot of things. So how have you seen the journey for LLMs kind of improving, and how do you think that will impact the skill requirements for product managers and engineers in the future?
So, like every application layer up, which is there on top of AI, it is going to significantly improve because of the improvement in the base models. That goes without saying. And a lot of like product, even engineering commentators have said that, even AI commentators have said that the companies which are at the forefront of a particular use case, let's say, let's take Cursor and Lovable for that matter. So they rely more on like how fast Claude improves than how better they make their own software. And
Hmm.
Claude and OpenAI eventually will make their applications way, way better than they are at the moment. So that is one thing. Second thing, I wanted to come to that prompt engineering part. So, like last 1 year, as you said, the prompt engineering was like coined as like job, a career path. But people often misunderstood prompt engineering with like writing in English. So that is the problem. Prompt engineering was never about the language that you're writing, it's about the context behind it. So
Hmm.
recently you'll find a lot of like OpenAI engineers and a lot of like Anthropic engineers and product leaders as well, calling this term called context engineering. And in order to have context, you need to have knowledge. Like
Hmm.
I would go and ask Claude to build me a backend system. Agam won't go and ask it to build a backend system. He'll give an array of things that do this, do that, do this particularly. That is coming from his knowledge. But he's
Hmm.
also writing in English. He's not writing in code. We are both
Hmm.
doing a type of prompt engineering, but the skill set is not about the writing part, it's about what I know. So that
Hmm.
is what people often miss. They go that they think that prompt engineering as a skill is basically writing something. It's not. It's about giving the right context, which you have developed over the years, doing that thing
Right.
from scratch. And that is a career path. That is essentially all our career paths is how I see it in the next 10 years. But yeah, that is a career
And what, so, sometimes I've heard this question from certain engineers or other techies that prompt engineering is also not necessarily just focused on, giving the prompt and getting an output, but designing the logics behind what those
path. Yes,
prompts do when
exactly.
you give a certain input, right? So, and
Exactly.
that's where the question of accuracy and quality of output
Yeah. Yeah.
stems from, because
Right.
apart from the fact that I, as a layman who's using GPT for my personal purposes, I can obviously improve my prompting skills, but at the
Right.
same time the output I may get could still lack in quality if the engineers who have designed that tool have not done a good job of
Absolutely.
creating the input output integration. So
Right.
I think that part is what we are saying, that we are going to see significant improvement in coming
Yes.
times, given
Yes.
the base models are improving.
Exactly.
Understood. Understood. I think that's very helpful. I think it also has significant impact on what kind of skills people should be prioritizing in the future.
Yes.
Um,
Hmm. And we
let's
were
take the next.
discussing that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead. Alam.
yeah,
Go
we were
ahead.
discussing one point when you came offline was ki, like it should not be blindly just giving the prompt and just getting the output. Right? You have to learn how the AI is generating, what is the logic behind it, and that's how you will grow also technically as well. So I
Yeah,
think that will improve a lot.
And like
fair
I'll
enough.
just add one more line into this. So basically the concept of hallucination. So people also misinterpret that as well. Hallucination isn't that I am saying you to give me a color and you give me the wrong color. Hallucination basically I'm asking you to give me blue and you're giving me red. And people often combine both of this into the same logic. So unless and until you tell LLM to give you a particular thing, you cannot compare its output to a qualitative output.
Yeah.
It's often how much it differs from what you are actually asking it to do. And people generally leave that part out in their head. They never say that to the LLM. And then they start comparing the output of the LLM. So that is something also people should always keep in mind. You need your
Right.
input context should be very clear.
That brings an interesting incident that happened. I'm sure you might have heard about it. That there was a, forgetting the name of the person, but it was a fairly well-known VC in the Silicon Valley who actually was using one of his portfolio companies or a portfolio company's competitors' AI tool. And I can't recall if it was Cursor or Replit or one of these. But basically, what happened is they found out that the tool was actually creating bogus database of non-existent entities to cover up a mistake that the tool had made, the AI tool, and it was one of the big ones.
Okay.
And I'm forgetting the name of the individual, but it was one of the that pause taking moment in the evolution of AI so far, which has been quite flawless in some sense. But this gave a lot of pause to many tech CEOs, including Anthropic and OpenAI CEOs. And then that's where they came out that yes, the hallucination can happen even with the most evolved and sophisticated tools today. So I think um, I mean, there is definitely that kind of hallucination also
Yeah.
happening where the context is being given, but you're still not always getting the right output. And AI can, try and focus on covering up its own mistakes and
Yes.
keep feeding on the same lies that it might have fed you in the first place. Obviously, that has to probably do because of the way it was built. But how do you ensure that it doesn't happen to you? Is there a way to ensure that? Like when you are building something, you use the software for 1 month, you start to trust it, and then you become a bit complacent, you start depending more, and then suddenly you haven't given the most accurate prompt or the most detailed prompt. Because of that, something goes off the rails and it can really cause significant issues, especially when you're using it for work purposes. Has anything like that happened? Have you seen that apart from this? And if you don't know about this incident, I would definitely recommend Googling it because a lot of people have changed how they use AI tools since then, especially at work. But have you both seen anything like this? And if so, like, how do you suggest people deal with these situations?
Uh,
Like I can go first.
yeah,
No, all right. So I haven't seen this particular instance, but I have seen like two or three like parallel instances that also blew up similar. One was that somebody's DB got erased by Cursor randomly one day, and the entire like DB got erased. And there was one leak related to somebody's DB that happened due to vibe coding. So instances like this have been happening, and uh, what I have always tried to like, or I have kept it as a like guideline for myself. If like even I'm coding with like AI or even using it, is to always try to do it in silos, and also keep a original version or like copy version every time, no matter how good it starts coding. And the parallel I draw is that how you do like coding in general life, like you have human coders instead of AI coders, but you still have master branches, you still have dev branches. Not everyone comes and pushes in the live branch every time. So don't you trust their coding skill? Of course you do, but there can be issues. So one thing is that treating the AI exactly as you treat like human coding counterpart. That is number one. And number two is that always inject your guideline in system knowledge. So with Lovable and with Cloud Code and even with Cursor, this is like doable. You can have a system knowledge always injected, and in system knowledge you can create guardrails of sorts. So that is one of the dimensions where a lot of companies are going into nowadays, building guardrails for AI, which are
Yeah.
like deployed in production. So you can start having your own guardrails for your coding environment. You can always tell it to like inject it on top of your prompt. Like you are not doing it basically. If you add it in the system knowledge, it goes always with this prompt, with the user prompt, that only touch the file that I have asked you to edit. Do not
Hmm.
recommend, change, even touch a like comma, full stop, or even inverted comma in any of the files. Even if there is a recommendation, share it in text first, and only after my approval, go ahead and apply it. So it always comes down to like this is also the reason, right, where both me and Agam said that it's still not a space where a one person can go on and do a hell lot of work, because there's still a lot of human review that is required when operating with AI for any function. Let it be for a PRD. Like if something is generating you a three-page document, you cannot go it and share it with your counterparts without reading through it. It
Mhm.
hallucinates there, it throws error there, it assumes things on its own. That's how they are built. So the human review part still has to be there, and I believe it has to be there for at least like a couple of years.
Got it. Agam, anything you want to add to this?
So yeah, okay. So I'll tell from like engineering side, ki like as you mentioning, they can be tools where sometimes they expose your like some keys as well. I've seen where one person was posting on LinkedIn ki like from vibe coding, I created a website and somebody saw that all the emails of the users were just visible in the console. So as I was thinking, like you can't like blindly trust the outcomes, right? You have to have your security protocols over top of it, especially if you are a mid to like every organization. If you are like you have to have your security protocols for that. For example, let's say I have created some code via Cus or any other AI tool. Once we are deploying on merging to our main branches, right? We have other tools like CodeRabbit and all who reviews the code changes as well, the file changes as well, and make sure you can write custom rules as well. Like don't if there is touch in these files, show alerts or warnings and all. You can't merge that. So a lot of things you should be doing and be careful of the outcomes of the AI tools. Plus you should not also like fully dependent on the AI tool or any tool that matter, right? As you were mentioning, ki, like I'm used to one tool and all these things. Even let's say tomorrow can be a pricing issue, costing issue, or can be, let's say, some security risk happens with that tool, not only with the AI or the output risk, right? So you should have that. When you have integrated, you can easily replace it within another tool as well. So that I think you should have that while you are integrating with these tools.
I think those are very good points. I think these guardrails are very critical as we, integrate AI into the mainstream of our work, so that you don't have. It's kind of like when you're working with Microsoft Excel and you work on a major file and it crashes on you. We learned that we need to have backups for this, right? That's what every company has now, backups, and we shifted to cloud and all these things, right? Took us some time to learn, but like we got there. I think similar to that with AI, we need its own set of guardrails. So these are important tools to think of. We can take the next question. Can we have, I believe, Satinder's question? Yes. How has AI been helping in doing better project planning and documentation at Swiggy? So
Yeah.
I guess this is directed at you, Agam.
Got it. So I'll say ki, like definitely the PRDs which we have seen, and I think Mrityunjay will also say everywhere where the AI usage is there in the product uh, level, the PRDs are getting written very fast. There have been iterations on that been very fast, and the handovers have been very seamless, right? With the PRDs, that is one. Second is now there's a lot of, as in Swiggy, we are still in a hybrid culture of like some are working from home, some teams are working from office, right? So there's a lot of meetings which happen offline and in different set of people, right? So the sync of that, the summarization of the meetings, kind of notes and all these things, we are leveraging these AI tools to kind of summarize, create action items, and keep all the stakeholders in sync with this hybrid culture as well. So I think these things have been really helpful in that, and that definitely helps us keep track of all the projects.
Got it. I think we have one more question before we start to wrap things up that we can take up from Shakuntla. I really like this question, to be very honest. And I don't think this is a question that only pertains to freshers. I think it pertains to pretty much everybody who's using AI today. So, as a fresher, I'm facing brain rot because of how fast LLM writes complex code. Due to this, when I'm faced with writing those logics without AI, my mind goes blank. Very honest question. Thanks for sharing this. Um, I think we have all probably experienced some sort of dumbing down or whatever you brain rot you want to call it, where we are leaning more and more on AI to do certain essential things, right? I for one, like I don't use AI a lot, but I do use it for writing every now and then. Something that I used to do completely on my own now is outsourced to AI by about 20 to 25%, right? I know many other people who have outsourced almost 50 to 60% of it or even more. Now, how do we ensure that in such cases we don't have brain rot, we don't lose our most essential skills, and how do we decide what skills are okay to lose and so that we gain time to do more important things? How do you do that? We can start with Agam. Seems
Yeah,
like you have
yeah,
something to share.
sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was waiting for this kind of question.
Mhm.
I also feel like lot of people when trying out the tools, they kind of just give few prompts and expect like entire applications or entire product gets built, and they'll just deploy it, and like they won't understand the logics behind it, right? So I'll say like you don't have to do lot of complex things here. If I say simply, let's say earlier also how you do a course, right? In the course also you'll have starting with one use case, one let's say one technical component you have to create, right? For example, if I take an example, I used to do application in my college, it's weather app. So like you have to create a weather application in your system, right? So first step is kind of show some data to the user. It can be like hard coded in your app, and then you just show display it. Yeah, that is the first step, right? So then you do is like, okay, the second step is now I have done this. Next step is like, let me get a live data from any server and then I render it. That is the second step. Then your third step is, okay, now I've done that, how I can cache the data and then save it so that in offline also, whatever the previous data is, I can show it to the user. And then let's say you move from there, right? So if you divide into step by step, how you used to do earlier, the courses as well as still now, and then do component wise by component creation, then you will also understand ki, like what is happening, what is the change set which has happened, and if any issue is happening or you want some deeper understanding from that component, how that build, you can still ask the AI ki, like how this is built, and you can iterate over that component itself, rather than kind of creating the entire application in one go and then kind of uh, sorting it out, what are the issues and all these things. Even if the your AI hallucinates with the one component, it will be easier for you to debug that one component change log and kind of fix the problem. So you have to divide it into smaller subset of use cases or problems, and then kind of build the large application. It should be bottom up.
Anything you would like to add, Mrityunjay, for this?
Yeah, so like I'll have a slightly different approach to this question. So what I would say is that if LLM starts writing your code and it's saving you time, it comes down to like discipline problem. Like it's come down to your discipline, that what you do with the rest of your time. So if technology starts doing your job for you, are you spending the rest of the time chilling, or are you spending the rest of the time learning something that comes down to you? So if LLM is helping you write code, it's definitely saving you time. Spend that time, as Agam said, going through that code, learning more about engineering, learning more about engineering principles, coding principles, whatever you can have your hands on. So it's basically like, since car replaced our daily jobs, we started going to the gym. So it has come down to a discipline thing right now. Our jobs can be done by AI. It can reduce our time spent on machines by, let's say, 80 to 90% in some cases for some people. But if they start leaving the rest of their day not doing anything, just sitting down and acknowledging how grateful they are to AI or to any technology, they're eventually going to face brain rot. So,
Mm.
like, be happy that it's doing your job. It's taking your redundancy out, but use that time to learn something better. Take course, do certification, do anything, go through videos, go through podcasts, like practice, but spend that time doing something productive on the side rather than complaining that something is taking your hard work out.
And your
Yeah.
second question, right, where we saying like this makes sense to do with AI, so you don't need to understand the logic. I think you can divide into two things: low leverage work and high leverage work, right? So low leverage work, which is a redundant work, you want to kind of just touch our files, just do some refactoring and all these things. Just have to manually do the changes. These should definitely go to the. You should uh, give it the AI to do the work, and you should not care if you're not able to understand the logic behind it. That is like low leverage. It will not benefit you technically as well, right? So there, I think it makes sense to kind of leverage for the low leverage work, use the AI to just blindly do the changes.
Yeah, I think a lot of good insights being shared. Do you both have a few extra minutes to take one or two more questions, Mrityunjay, Agam?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so we have, I believe, one more question that just came in, and then after that, I have one final question that I would like to ask. But from Achint, we have, as an engineering lead, I do not trust AI with fintech code, hence restricted to testing, documentation, meeting notes, proof of concept use cases. Is it really essential to use AI more to stay relevant? Hmm. I think this is a pretty fundamental level question, to be honest. And I think it's a nuanced question because it's not saying that don't use AI for anything or use AI for everything. It's kind of parsing AI's use cases into, like you both just were talking about, low leverage, high leverage. Um, I think Achint has also just added that the context to this question is he's observing bad quality AI output, hence trusting years of human experience versus AI. Yeah, either of you can take a stab at this first, whoever wants to go.
Can you go, Nitin? I'll just add what's
Yeah, no, like so Agam would be a better person to answer this, but I'll just share my view. But the context that Achin shared, that answers his own question.
more.
So it is currently a output problem. It's not a concept problem. So eventually, sometime later, AI will write good fintech code or probably trustable code. What would you be doing at that moment? Would you be starting to learn how to use it, or would you be at a space to actually leverage it? The way I see it, I do not use everything that AI gives to me, but I have this constant practice of at least trying to apply everywhere, everyday job, everything that I do. I do not use it. For design, I started using AI. For writing PRDs, my PRDs are completely like written by me. I do not use like AI to write the logic or the flows, but yeah, some text in between, I use AI for that. But if I'm to say that 2 years down the lane, AI won't be able to write that entire thing into one, I'd be wrong. So it's a time problem. It's an ability problem of AI at the moment. The thing that we have been preaching on this call also is to be ready for the time when it actually starts delivering on the like level that we are expecting it to be at the moment,
Correct.
and not start doing it then or wait for it to happen. So yeah, that would be my like view on this.
Yeah. Agam?
So I might need more details from the person because I feel it can write the code even for the fintech use case as well. Maybe if the output can be one of the reason ki like output is not coming with that quality because the either the code base is big or the prompts or the what are the outcome you are wanting is not coming in that direction. Whereas you do multiple iterations on the tool and then see you can write rules as well. You just give me output in these directions. I'll just give a similar use case, right? For example, in the UI world, we have design language system. Like I don't use normal colors or tokens. I use specific ones for my Swiggy design library, right? So cursor will not understand ki like, okay, when you have to create a UI component, use these kind of tokens. So we have to write our own custom rules ki like, when I gave you a prompts to create a UI, you have to use these kind of token, these set of tokens and colors to generate the UI code, right? So I think that the constant training of that is very much necessary. And even if it is not able to give you a good quality output, at least there will be some percentage. I feel like even 20-25%, if it is able to generate, that is also saving you effort and already putting you ahead, right? And with time, definitely it'll keep on improving and it will go beyond that. Your outcome will go beyond that 25%. So I think it should not be like it is really essential to use AI as you mentioned. It is essential and it will be relevant.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's very clearly answered. I'm glad you didn't, sort of sidestep this in a diplomatic way. I think you both answered it very head on. So I really like black and white answers, not gray answers. Um, I have one final question before we wrap this up. And, to be honest, we've been building up so far towards this question. Everything that you've been talking about has been building up to this question, which is at Pivot, most people who come to us, they are looking for their next role. Okay, they're not just looking for the same exact role typically that they have been doing. They're looking for a level up, right? Or a transition into a new type of domain and industry. So in that kind of a scenario, let's say we have a product manager who's now trying to become an AI product manager, right? We might have, let's say, an engineer who's trying to go from an IC to a managerial role, right? So these are the kind of folks that we work with. How do such folks utilize AI, skills, AI experience, and if they don't have it, then I mean we have discussed a lot of things they can do. But how do they leverage AI to make their transition more successful? So not just performing well at work and leveraging AI at work. Obviously, those things are important. But when I'm applying to jobs and I'm trying to showcase my AI potential, um, right? And most of us can showcase potential only because it's not like many years have passed where people can show tremendous achievements with AI. It's very, very few people who can do that today. Um, so, how do I showcase my potential in AI at the time that I'm transitioning? I would love to get your feedback on this because honestly, this is one of the most common questions that we get from tech folks today. Mrityunjay, would you like to
Absolutely.
take it? Yeah.
Yeah. So there are like few ways. Some of them require a lot of effort. So I'll start with the like lower effort items, and I'll go up the scale of effort. The first thing that anyone can leverage AI to do is basically research the company they're going into. This is the easiest way of leveraging AI while switching or going into some other job, because I have seen it firsthand in today's world, in today's job market. It is absolutely critical, especially if you're in this middle to senior like level of employment bandwidth, that it is extremely important for your vision, for your background, and for your approach to match with the approach of the organization that you're going into. So the last round, the penultimate rounds, they are primarily judged on how your mindset and your approach matches with what the organization is looking for. And this can very easily be understood or fetched by researching. And there are ways to research it. AI is primarily where like I have used Perplexity and I have used GPT and a combination of Claude to do some sort of research that actually helped me switch. That is number one. Number two is we are at that age where your words can become prototypes. You can show things better. It's not just about what you can do after coming into the company. There are ways you can actually show what you can do in the company before joining it as well. So let's say you are joining as a product manager for Swiggy, and you know you are applying for a particular vertical. Instead of just saying that when I join the company, I'll do this or do that, why not create a prototype or a small application or a small presentation? And it can be done within hours today. That is essentially the vibe coding market is. So that is where the second type of leverage comes into. It's slightly more effort. It requires a little bit of a learning curve, but I have seen that work tremendously. I personally had three vibe coding interviews. So this experience alongside these projects actually helped me go through those interviews. So these are direct like impacts. And like the third thing, which is probably the highest effort, is a combination of all of this, is basically creating a long-term map of how many or what type of use cases can you build for the role that you're going into. And I'm only talking from a product manager perspective. The thought process behind this is that currently a lot of companies are trying to hire AI product managers, but they're not exactly absolutely clear in a black and white form what they are expecting out of this product manager. They want this guy to come into and build into the org and build AI use cases, but also they are not sure which AI like use case will work. So you can create a good enough 3 month, 2 month roadmap if you are going for leadership position. And this is something that I have like read about, heard from some leaders out there, like somebody who have been 10 years to 15 years in the industry, and they talk a lot about this. You showing a roadmap alongside these pockets of prototypes, ideas, validation, research, all combined. So this essentially shows you that not only you are actually good at the job, but you'll actually be good at the job that you're going into. And this is the demo of that. This is the highest effort work because let's say you're applying for 15, 20 companies, it is impossible to do. But
Yeah.
that's why I said it's highest effort, but it's highest return. I have actually done this for two companies and I've gotten interviews from them just by cold emailing them a tech doing this. And 2 years before now, I wouldn't have even thought about it because it is too time taking. Now, with AI, you can actually reduce the time spent in doing this. And once you templatize this entire journey, then you can just like keep churning it for every new company that you apply for. So that is how I would recommend people, at least in the product or start approaching their job hunting experience, their interview experience, like
Yeah.
this entire journey basically.
No, I think that's a brilliant, strategy. I really liked how you have structured it in a way where people can, choose from low effort versus high effort and low return versus high return, because you might have some dream jobs which you really want to put your
Exactly.
best foot in,
Yeah.
and there might be certain, more mid to low potential jobs where you are not super excited but you still
Right.
want to do something unique and different.
Right.
So I think it really gets to the heart of that. Very well structured, Mrityunjay. And I say this with a lot of meaning and a lot of kind of deliberation, because we have been working in this field for almost 5 years, right? We
Okay.
have covered the length and the breadth of differentiating strategies that help people stand out in the job market, and everybody is aware of certain of these things. Like you can do company specific research, you can do
Yes.
customized portfolios and
Yes.
build something for the company itself. So
Yeah.
like people know this, but to detail it out in the way that you have done, and especially integrating AI into this, I think that was very, very effective. Agam, what are your thoughts? I mean, is there something that you have done yourself, or you have seen other candidates who are applying at Swiggy? They do something which really positions them uniquely and makes you say that, oh, I definitely need to shortlist and interview that candidate.
Got it. So first of all, I really like the second the idea of Mithunjan saying ki like yes, uh, when you're going into interviews, right? Instead of saying ki like what can be done better or how I can contribute, where verbally or on paper, rather than creating a prototype or a small demo with AI will definitely be out like a very differentiating factor, right? So
Yeah.
when I was interviewing Swiggy, like a similar question was asked. So at that time, I was just able to like create one pager and just share it. I want to do. But if I kind of now in this world, AI world, AI first world, like if we are able to give that experience to the hiring team and all, that will definitely set you apart. Uh, I actually like being engineering manager. I see a lot of resumes, I shortlist reviews and all of that, right? So it'll be like as let's say I, for one open position, I'll see let's say 1,000 resumes come, right? So if I have to go and review one of them, I'll not have that much time to kind of go with every detail, right? So you have to be very like focused on the things you have delivered, right? So first, I think the storytelling which we were discussing, right? The impact first storytelling is very much important. It should not be like I have tried, let's say, cursor, or I tried this tool to create this. What is the impact you brought? The 30% improvement in your some response time, or this whatever X conversions you have improved. If I talk about from the product view, right? So these kind of impacts really attract the managers, and if you are like backing up with your AI usage, that will be the one good point. Other than that, let's say we were discussing the blurriness of product design developer, right? So if you have collaborated uh, on these lines, like as a in the developer, I have collaborated with design, or I contributed on one or two features where I was became a designer and did that, or I became a product manager or created a whole requirement and I kind of got that computed. So that is again the second thing which you can help you stand up. Other than that, I'll say ki, you can have specializations as well. You can mention in your resume ki, yeah, worked on this is area sectors that will also help you. So
Mhm.
yeah, so malab, see AI, everybody is trying out and will be writing it, but only differentiating it better what you have done with those tools. Right? You can't have right. Ki I've done the certification, right? That will no longer count.
Right.
This is where we will.
Anybody can do that.
But what you did with this knowledge and certification, what is the impact you created, whether you in your organization or as an individual developer, you can showcase via GitHub projects or any open source contributions as well. Those will stand out. And one thing is you were mentioning like if I'm also kind of transition into a role of let's say a uh, senior role from let's say a developer IC to manager and all, right? So there I think the job profile drastically changes. No longer just doing your code, you have to do a 10 other things. You have to do stakeholder management, uh, work with like engineers. Let's say I have a 20 plus team members, so I have to like work with all of them. So there how you manage your time, it will be very much important with the AI tools, how you leverage these tools to kind of uh, reduce workload on yourself and you do meaningful contributions and high leverage work. So that will also be as a personal thing. I think those will really come because everybody will have those in a day 14 hours only, right? So how you manage that time with the AI, that will be the game changer.
Perfect. I think we have covered a lot of ground today. Thank you so much for extending the session as well to almost like 20 extra minutes. So really, really appreciate all the experience, insights, and very candid opinions that you have shared. I mean, there's a lot of subjectivity and grayness in the market around AI because there are moving pieces, there are uncertainties, right? But I think both of you seem to have done a lot of first hand work in this area, and you're experimenting, you're tinkering, you're sharing your honest feedback with our community. So I really, really appreciate and really grateful for you guys to join today, and also for the audience who was able to take out time on Thursday evening asking some fantastic questions. I think some of these are questions on everybody's mind, some of these are very specific to each individual, but I think they added value to the discourse today. So I really appreciate all the questions as well. In case you both would be open to taking further questions to people who are from Pivot, we can ask them to reach out to you directly, perhaps on LinkedIn, if you are open to that. And perhaps it will be career changing moment for some people. Believe me, these conversations can sometimes drive so much more value than we anticipate. So I think it seems like both of Agam and Mrutyunjaya are nodding to this. So I'll take that nodding as a sign that you're open to.
Yeah, we are.
Definitely.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening. I hope you got some good takeaways that you can actually apply and become an AI power user in your field of work. So, and special thanks again to Agam and Mrityunjay. Thank you for your time, all your expertise, and I'm sure we will love to do this sometime again with you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for inviting us. We also learned a
Yeah.
lot. I also
Yeah,
learned.
we loved it. It was a very nice conversation.
Great. Thank you both. Have a good rest of the evening.
You too.
You too.